All right. Well, hello, everyone. You are joining Coach E, the founder and creator of Girl Be Happy LLC, where we focus on a brain based approach to personal transformation as well as creating a visible, profitable, and evergreen business for mompreneurs. So you'll probably hear my son in the background. Like I said, I am a mom, and my family is right here. So we are here with Emerald. Do you want me to say your middle name? It
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Emerald Thompson, Thomas or Thompson?
Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah, I always get it mixed up. I've known her for a minute and I really like what she's doing with her business, but I'm gonna let you take it away and tell them who you are, what you do, and that whole thing about your business.
Yeah, so basically, like she said, my name is Emerald Thomas. I created Southern Belle Remix as a blog initially, and then I began
Really?
baking. And then I named a bakery because when I was at farmers markets, people was like, "What was Southern Belle Remix?" So I named it Goodies by Southern Belle Remix so they can understand that it was sweets by me. And the whole reason why I got started was because of my own health issues, food sensitivities, intolerances, allergies. And when I started changing my diet, you know how you would post things on social media, people were asking a lot of questions. And so I started the blog to be a source where I could say, hey, just go to my blog. But it grew from there and people really wanted me to cook or bake for them. So baking was the easiest thing to do because you could do it from home. In Texas, you could do bake from home and sell it. So that's how I started. But now I ship and I ship out of a commercial facility.
You know, I had never known that you started with a blog.
Yeah.
This whole entire time, I did not know that. That is so awesome. So wow, like so you bake and you ship stuff out. I have had some of her cookies, y'all. We were talking about this before we got on. I was talking about how I didn't get a chance to take a picture of the cookies because they were gone before we could really do that. But they were so good. And
No,
see,
thank
I
you.
have milk. I can't have lactose. I'm lactose intolerant. And so a lot of the time I find that there's milk in everything. So there's milk in everything, and there's lactose in a lot of things. So my main focus, I don't think my son has any allergies, but my main focus has been to make it so that he doesn't even have to have those allergies by
Mhm.
not introducing those things in the first place. Because from my understanding, your body doesn't need those things. And so I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of people that have these allergies. But I'm curious to know, because I know that you are a mom. What has been your biggest challenge with doing your business from home and also being a mom?
I think the biggest challenge is time. Having time for yourself, time for your husband, time for your kids, and balancing the business. So sometimes the business will take be a back burner, or I would be in a back burner because I have to make sure other things are done. Now, thankfully, my husband is understanding and compassionate, so he doesn't really let me put things on the back burner. Well, put as much on the back burner as some women may have to. But for example, I know I have to take time to work out because that's just a part of my healthy lifestyle and balance. So I basically go to a class for an hour. When I go to the class, it doubles as my me time because my kids are in childcare. And so it gives me some time to do something by myself and not have to be,
Mm.
not have to share my water. If I, and the good thing about our gym, it has a little cafe in there. So when I was nursing, I was able to go work out, eat something by myself without someone pulling on it and trying to eat it. And then to pick
Yes.
them up. So that gives me some time to just be me because a lot of times we get lost. And then of course my another challenge which I'm grateful for is my husband's job. His schedule kind of varies like every other week. 1 minute is nights, 1 minute is days, and then one week it'll be the middle shift. So it's kind of hard to work around, especially with this pandemic. The kids have to be with us all day, and we're trying to navigate having someone available to watch them while I bake, And then, of course, my business took off even more during the pandemic because people were sitting at home wanting some sweets. So we had to
Yeah.
really juggle. And sometimes we'll be there late at night baking. Sometimes we'll be there early baking. Sometimes the day would go in the middle of the day. Sometimes I would have to go multiple days in a row to prep and bake one day. And it was just a lot sometimes, but we have figured out how to make it work.
So you mentioned a couple things that actually I struggle with too, and one of them is childcare. Um, that is extremely important. Like especially if you're going to be running a business, it doesn't matter what it is. Like she said, she started out with a blog, and I know when you were blogging, you had to have some time to be able to do that, like to set aside some time to be able to do to work on that. And I know with kids, you got kids pulling on you, trying to take your food, like trying to get your attention and stuff like that. One of the biggest lessons is to make sure that you have some form of childcare or some form of distraction for them, so that it's not a problem for you to complete your work. And I know, especially with baking, you're not about to have kids running around a industrial kitchen. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a bad idea.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about the place I go to. There is a sitting area, so I just really just give them their little tablets or some snacks, and then they sit in that little corner at the table, and they're able to do some work or play while I bake. And usually I don't bake more than 3 hours at a time because I'm trying to work around the schedule. But I've
Right.
got so efficient that I can knock out a lot of things. Like I can do
Yeah, just being efficient
tens
is
of
huge.
dozens. Yeah, so that's the good thing about it. And of course, like there are times, like I said before, I have Hashimoto's thyroid disease. So there are times where I feel horrible due to that, and I'm still trying to do everything. And sometimes, like if I don't have a lot of orders, um, I'll just take some time, a few days, and just chill out. Maybe just go to the gym, do a light workout, and just chill if I feel bad. But those days have been few and far between because I am taking like a new medication now, so
Well,
it
that's
is
good.
improving. So it's a lot to juggle, but you just have to have the mindset of saying, okay, I have this challenge, but I know there's a solution to this challenge,
Right.
and just figure out a way to push past it.
Yeah, so you talked about efficiency. What does your daily routine look like? Because I know for some moms, and I actually talked to someone today, this morning,
Mhm.
and she was saying that she has trouble with feeling like she's accomplishing things and getting things done in a timely manner, with time management being an issue. So you said that you have to make sure that you manage your time, but you also need that self-care. So what does your daily routine look like as far as self-care and making sure that you get all the things done with your business, but also with your kids?
So for me, right now, I started this routine. I was going to the gym 4 days straight. That was a little rough, especially after the pandemic. You know, when the gym opened back up, it was very limited on when you can work out. And when you would reserve a class, it would be so many people can go because they were spacing us out and spraying everything down. So at first I started going 4 days a week straight, and that was too much. But now I go like 3 days straight, and then I probably take a day or two off and then go like another day or two. But with the classes, I go to like the same classes, and usually they're in the morning or in the daytime. And then that way that frees me up to do whatever else I need. So if I need to bake that day, if I have a lot of orders, depending on my husband's work schedule, I'll either try to do them all in one day or do half in one day. Most of the time my customers order the same thing. So it's easy to kind of split it up and say, okay, I'm going to do these three things, and then I'll come back another day and do those three. But usually when it comes to shipping, I ship on certain days, and UPS usually picks up the packages at a certain time. So I know, okay, I have to bake on this day and this day to get the order ready to ship it by 6 o'clock today. So that's usually how I work. And the good thing about working out earlier in the day is that I can accomplish that of making sure I'm staying healthy and on top of my exercise routine. But then I can also have the rest of the day to do whatever else I need to, especially if there's like a tantrum, like my 2-year-old throws a tantrum, and I could, factor in time to deal with that. But
That's
sometimes,
hard.
yeah, sometimes I do go in the evening. to work out, but it's just, I kind of like know how my day is going. So I usually just pick like a few things and say, okay, if I'm going to work out at 6 o'clock today, then I know that I have this window of time to do these things so that I can get there to the gym. And so I just kind of like, it just really depends on the workout schedule, honestly, and my order schedule. And I just fill in those blocks. And even if I just fill in some blocks of time just to sit down and watch TV with my kids, or sit down and read some more, figure out some more recipes, answer some questions on like my Facebook group. Like some people send in, ask if this has gluten in it or something. So I do kind of factor in downtime because I'm creative, and I think when I have downtime, it allows me to be free to be creative.
Right.
But if everything is so rigorous and like from 8 to 9, I'm doing this every day, I wouldn't be able to think straight.
No, no. I actually feel that exact same way. I think that when I got to the point where I stopped being so rigid about the rules, and see, the thing is you make up the rules for your business and how you operate. And so one of the things that I started doing is, because I mean, like, obviously I'm a mom, and I had to really give myself some grace with that, and incorporate me time. And me time doesn't always look like what you think. You know, it's not always going to be an hour long, or, you know, a long period of time, because you have your spouse, then you have all the other things. But just taking that time in the routine and making sure that I do something, at least one thing, has been really helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what's the one thing that's been most instrumental in your progress? Because I know you've grown a lot. I've just seen you grow a lot in this past year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's phenomenal. Like, it's taken
Thank you.
off.
Yeah, I think that part of it is a combo of two things. Part of it is being consistent. Like there were times when I felt like I was talking to myself on social media when I would post. It's like
Mm-hmm.
nobody would reply. And then it
Crickets.
seems like one day people start replying, and then more people start replying. And then so the next thing you know, everybody kind of joined the conversation. A little bit of it is customers being excited about their product and posting and tagging me. And that has helped as well because it builds credibility. But I do think it's just being consistent and people saying, okay, she's been talking about this for a long time. Let me give her a shot. But honestly, it was a struggle at times. Like I was making sales. I did better. I know I did better with in-person sales. Like at
Mm-hmm.
farmers markets, things like that. I was good at that because it was easy to sell it because they were looking at me, talking to me. But when you're online and they don't know you personally, that was a big struggle at first,
Mm-hmm.
but consistency really paid off. And then like my Facebook group blew up. I think I added in the month of July, I think I added over 250 people to the
That
group.
is so awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, where did these people come from? But they're engaged and they're happy and they're learning and they interact with each other. And so that's what I really, really wanted. And then my business has been consistent. It's consistently growing, and I'm just happy with it. But I do think it's because I kept posting and talking to people, and then one day someone added a friend, they added a friend, because people really do need help. And I just think about I need to help people. And there have been times when people come to me in person, and they may not even comment on my post, but they'll come to me in person and they'll talk about what I post. So I knew people
Yeah,
were
that's happened to me too. I'm like, do I know you? They're like,
yeah, so I'm like, I knew
no.
they were looking at it, but they just didn't. Maybe they were shy, and they didn't
Yeah.
want to say it online. So I just kept going, and I knew that I really wasn't talking to myself, even though I feel like it.
Yeah, sometimes it'll feel like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, I feel like there's advice that can be given to your younger self or your early version of in business self.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell yourself if, like, back when it felt like nobody was listening to you, it felt like you weren't making progress? Like, what would you say to yourself?
I think I would have told myself just to keep it simple and keep going. Uh, I'm like, I guess the best way to say it, like, I know I'm intelligent and I think of complicated things and make it simple. But I don't think I make simple things complicated too, because that's just how my mind works. So when
Yep,
I
that
kind of
sounds familiar.
I know, that's what I was telling you, like I've been there. But I think that's for me, I had to just focus on just keeping it simple and being consistent with simple. I could still do all those big things, those big dreams I have and all those ideas I have. But I just need to take it step by step and one day I can have it all.
Yeah.
Because I would think of this type of cookie recipe and I'm like, oh, I could do it like this. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. And I'm like, I wasn't really fully giving each product the love that it needed.
Yeah,
to
that's a good way to put it.
through.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So
Doing a whole bunch of stuff and not giving each thing the love that it needs.
yeah. So now I know, like, I gave some things some love, and then now I'm like, okay, now I'm still doing those things, but let me focus on something else that customers been asking me for, but giving it the love that I need to reach people. And because that's what people really want. They tell me, hey, Emerald, can you make something keto friendly, or can you make something vegan? And so I really put in like a lot of research, and then I don't want to just spend months of research and then throw it out there and then just walk on to something else. So I really do try to make sure that people, I really launch it right. And
Right. That's huge. Okay. So you touched on something that's really important. Launching, like actually launching. There's a lot of women in business that don't actually launch, and then they feel awful about it because there's nobody paying attention really.
mm-hmm.
And you and I are both in the same mastermind, and when we launch, there is a method to it, and there is a way to do it that can position yourself to be successful. And so that's something that I think it's important for people to consider. You need to commit yourself to a launch.
Yeah. And there are times when, like, some people, they can think of something and say, I'm about to launch a $10,000 course. And then they put it out there and people sign up for it.
Yeah, but they already have an audience.
They already have an audience. So it's like, I know in the beginning phases, I was trying to jump to that.
Right.
Where I'm just like, let me throw it out there and have faith that people are going to sign up and buy it. And a thing that I realized is that if I didn't do the proper foundation and take my time and do it right, I wasn't going to make money. And a lot of times I needed to make money. I'm like, well, I know it's possible. I know the God I serve, he knows what I need. But I'm like, he also is a God of order. And so
exactly. Oh my gosh.
I had to go back and learn. And that's why, like, this time I'm taking my time and doing it right and taking the proper steps. I'd rather go slower than try to go fast, because
exactly.
I'm not I know that, of course, money is the object. And then, you're in business to make money. Even if it's a nonprofit, you still need money.
Right.
But I'm not trying to rush it so much so that I'm not giving it the love and attention that it needs to have to serve people properly. Because there are people who come to me at farmers markets or send me emails, and they'll be like, Emerald, I'm glad you offered this, because I wanted a goodie. I wanted like this, but nobody else sold it. And I'm glad you're at this event because there's nothing else here I can eat. And so I know people truly not necessarily you don't need a cupcake, but
it's just nice to have something. Because I used to feel like that. I would go to parties and stuff like that, and they didn't have nothing that was dairy free.
Yeah.
And so I'd be looking foolish at this party, like, I can't eat that.
And people always assume that it's always about dieting and losing weight. It's not always that case for everyone. Some people, it's just health issues that cause it. Like, you can have celiac disease. I know a lot of members in my group, which is gluten and dairy-free recipe tips and more, if you want to join. But a lot of people in my group have PCOS. And so it's not just celiac disease. Some people say, hey, my baby can't have anything, and I'm breastfeeding, so we both have to cut it out. And then there are some people that may have, like me, I have Hashimoto's. A lot of women who with Hashimoto's can't have gluten. And a lot of them can't have a lot of other foods like nightshades and all kind of things. So it's so diverse, and the need is there for things that are free from certain things without being like, some things are healthy and it just tastes funny. Like that's
a good way to say it.
Yeah, I try to make my things. Of course, it's gonna be a different texture because it is gluten free. But I try to make it taste as close to what we're not used to eating as possible, because I'm making it more of a comfort food with quality ingredients, but I don't really focus on making it taste like granola, if that makes sense.
Right. No.
Yeah, so when you eating a cupcake, it's gonna taste very, very close to a cupcake. And some people even tell me they like mine. Like in a farmer's market, someone brought something from someone else, brought the same thing for me, and it was like, yours is better. I don't see how they messed this up. So they're like, and then yours is good. And so it just goes to show you that like my cookies taste like cookies.
They do. And they're so, oh my gosh, y'all got to get these cookies. Now, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to her giving you the way to get to that. I wanted to ask you a couple more questions before we get to that point.
Okay.
If you could do it all over again, what would you change and what would you keep the same?
For my business, I think I would just change the way I launched it at first. I tried to jump stuff because I needed money, let's be honest. And then the things I would do the same is stay creative. There are some people that told me like, hey, you're just wasting time. You don't have time to be sitting there writing about food and things like that. But I do think that's a generational thing.
Yeah, it is.
And so I'm glad I stay consistent, but I wish I wouldn't really care so much. That's always been a flaw of mine, caring so much about what other people say.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I would move forward, I still care too much. But because instead of taking the criticism, whether it was some truth to it or all true, I shouldn't have looked at it as whatever they were saying being 100% me. Like if someone's
Right.
negative about me, I know that I'm a good person. I know I have a good heart. I know I have good intentions. That might be a side of me, or that may be what they saw, but that don't mean that's who I truly am. And I could take that as it's like some people say, oh, you're too creative. You're all over the place. Well, that might be true, but I can use that to my advantage and strengthen it and then use the good side of that to do what I have to do.
Right.
So I wish I wouldn't have taken things that people meant to be negative and let it affect me from doing what I meant to do.
Yeah, but more like you harness it as fuel.
Yeah, use it as fuel. Yeah.
So if you could give yourself 3 pieces of advice, or if you could leave the world with 3 pieces of advice as far as being a mom and running a business and being a wife, all the things, wearing all the hats, what would you say? Because it's funny, these new moms tend to have different issues than people from older generations. And so I'm not going to say too much more than that, but what are 3 pieces of advice that you could leave them?
I think we're living in different times, so we kind of have to carve out things on our own, and maybe we can't really do what the people did in the past, because our parents didn't have to deal with a pandemic and teaching us from home. Our grandparents didn't even have to do it. Some of them may have lived during the first, the pandemic 100 years ago, but they weren't parents or adults dealing with it. So we do have to give ourselves a little grace, understand that we are human. And then the second thing I would say is really focus on what's important, which is your family. You can make money. There are 24 hours in a day. Taking time out to give your husband one-on-one attention, give your kids some attention, and give yourself some attention is, that won't take a whole 24 hours.
Yeah.
So definitely do that, because that's the priority. And that's the reason why a lot of us are entrepreneurs as moms. We're doing it so we can have more money and time for our family. So we have to make sure we don't miss out on one or the other. So to keep that balance. And then the last thing I would say is make sure your health is very important in order for you to enjoy quality of life. So you can be there for your kids. You can be there for your spouse if you have one. And because if you're not healthy and let's say you make $1 billion in 1 year and then you die, like,
what was the point of all that?
Yeah. So I just really want to focus. That's the 3 things I would focus on: your health, your family, and and the balance with that. And of course, giving yourself grace, because it is rough. And there are some days, especially when my husband works nights, and I'm trying to keep the kids quiet while he's sleeping, and we're stuck in one place, and it was hard. But I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? Because my kids have a basically like a 6-year age gap. So it's like, how am I going to figure this out? But I have to remember, he was only working that shift for a week, and I could get help. A lot of us don't like to get help because some people give condescending advice, like when you ask for help, they act like you're incapable. And then some people,
or they say things and then they're like, all right, I'll help you. But then after that, you're just like, I don't even want the help. You like,
yeah. And then some people, they are willing to help, and you just be surprised, because I do have some family members and friends that have volunteered to help from time to time. So I do take that when I can get it, because it's not many people I trust in my kids. So when someone that I know and trust offer help, I take it. It's sometimes it's hard and I miss them, but I do take it because it's necessary for me. It's because my husband and I, the last time we went on a date, I think was when the pandemic first started, before everything shut down. So it's been the four of us nonstop, but the grandparents keep begging for the grandkids, so we're gonna let them go before school starts to see them, and then they'll give us some time to take care of things and clean up properly.
Yeah, so that is something. We don't live near family, so when you don't live near family, you definitely have to make sure that you have a support network,
Mm-hmm.
friends, or even because there's no daycares really right now, and so it's hard. It's hard. You got to find ways to keep your kids occupied, but also to keep the relationship healthy, and then you've got this business beast over here. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's
Definitely.
really a lot.
My husband and I, one thing we do when we want to spend some time together is put the kids to bed a little early, like try to tire them out a lot. So sometimes we work out to make them tired. And if that doesn't work, we'll just let them go in their room with some popcorn and let them watch a movie, and then we'll go in our room and watch a movie. So that way we can be apart.
For just some time, because it's
because but a lot of times they end up falling asleep, or they'll just keep playing, and we're able to have that time where we're not just pulled on, like they'll be like, mommy, daddy. Oh, gosh.
It's a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot, and I think that just gaining experience with doing the simple things, the everyday life things, can really change your perspective on being an entrepreneur, running a business, whether it's brick and mortar or if it's online. I think that it still takes a lot of work. So you have given us lots of juicy advice. I think that it's just real advice. What everybody's probably wondering now is, how can they get to you on social media? How can they get to them cookies, girl? Them cookies, though. Oh my gosh, the cookies are good. How can they find you on social media? Where are you at? And is there anything going on right now in your sphere?
Okay, so you can get a free cookie when you text the letters SBR to 31996, and then you get the code to redeem online for a free cookie. But right now, I am launching some cupcakes in a jar. I have different flavors. I have some fall flavors that are coming out that will be released soon. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's very popular for a lot of my followers, and that's at Southern Belle Remix, and that's spelled SOUTHERNBELLE Remix. And that, if you find me on there, and it's the same handle for Facebook as well, you can see when I release the new fall flavors, because that will be coming up around, I guess, by the end of the month. I will be posting some pictures about what the new flavors are. But so far I have one flavor that I posted, and it's pretty popular as well. So that's it.
That is so awesome. You are amazing. I know that it's been a journey for you, and you and I have kind of seen each other's journey a little bit and been a part of each other's journey. I'm just really proud of you and all the stuff that you've been able to accomplish, even as being, you're married, you're a mom, it's a lot, and it's not for the faint of heart. So I want to congratulate you on your success. I think that you're definitely going places because of how special your brand is. And yeah, that is it for this episode, guys. This is a series. We're going to be talking to different mothers about their businesses, but also the hashtag mom life, because this is important. We all want to be at home with our babies. We are already home with our babies, and now so we just got to navigate this thing. So with that, I leave you with love and light, and I wish you the best day that you could possibly have, and we will see you next time.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Bye.